Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, due to this being a two-parter, we are back. I want to thank you guys for sticking with us. We apologize for any inconvenience as far as that's concerned, but we are back in business. We'll be having Eugene on here shortly to discuss a couple of more things, some final thoughts about the music industry, metal, all that good shit. So we're gonna go ahead and bring the god himself. Drum roll, please.
Metal and all that good shit.
Hey, dude. Sorry about that.
All right, so Eugene, quickly,
Where did we stop?
we won't take up too much more of your time. For the people at home that enjoy your videos, maybe like me, because I do consider you one of my mentors. You and Eric Marotti have helped me out tremendously when it came to double.
Eric, awesome.
I had one session with Eric, and I've had two with you, and I do consider you and him my mentors because my double strokes have improved tremendously.
Amazing. Yeah, he taught me to do doubles, so.
Would you mind to possibly, if you do not care, maybe just do a very brief and quick tutorial on double strokes, or do you have your pedal?
Okay, this was unexpected. Okay, no problem. Give me a second.
I'm sorry.
The problem is now I got my axes here, but we're gonna keep it a secret from the mean Chachicopedo sponsors. Give me a second. I need to move my camera a little bit.
Yes, sir. Again, I thank you for your time, man. I know you got your studies and everything, and I appreciate you just having you stopping by and chatting with us and
absolutely
doing a quick demo.
I'm not very sure I can actually pull it off properly. What is this? I got a lot of junk. This place is a mess. I apologize for that.
Oh, no, you're good, brother, man. I do want to ask you while you're getting everything set up, how is that foot blaster pad? Is it as good as it is advertised, sir?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I don't have it here with me right now, unfortunately. I have it in my basement, and yeah, this is just a cheap Gibraltar pad. Oh, you're going to be looking at my hairy legs. Terrible. Okay. Sorry, but there's no other way. Just give me a second. I wanted to adjust the camera slightly. I need to make sure that you see what I want you to see.
And while he's getting this set up, I do want to say, if you guys want to watch, obviously not a spur of the moment, more professional setting of this incredible robot gentleman perform his incredible technique. Of course, go over to his page, follow him on Instagram, follow him on, or like him on Facebook, all the platforms to get quality content like he's about to demonstrate for us here.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can get this. Can make this work. Maybe I'm gonna just crank up the string tension a little bit. I'm using these axes. These are my old axis pedals, which I really love. I have no problem, let's say, complimenting a brand that I don't endorse anymore because, I have good memories. It's like, when you talk about your ex, eventually you're only gonna be thinking about the good stuff that you had, so.
Yes, sir. So I do want to ask you, Eugene, I know you were endorsed by Axis at one point in time, and now you're currently endorsed with the Capitos. I cannot pronounce the chart.
Just like my last name, you're going to butcher that one as well. Yeah.
But no, I did want to ask you, have you ever had any experience with the trick pedals?
Unfortunately, not much. I did see them many times. I saw people using them, and I tried them a few times. But the problem is with pedals and the stuff that we play, with the techniques we apply and the music we perform, it's sometimes not enough to just try them for like 5 minutes. Okay, so I do believe that you sometimes need more, like sessions and weeks and months, and then you end up changing the settings all the time because you kind of cannot figure out what you want. You cannot dial in those settings, and maybe you start mimicking the settings from the older pedals to the new ones, trying to get the same feeling. Once again, talking about the X, trying to look for the old stuff in your current relationship, let's say, going back, being haunted by the past in a way, something like this. I have the same relationship with pedals that I have with people, it seems like. Or I don't know, maybe it's just a stupid example. I don't know.
I went from
So
I went from single chain PDP pedals to tricks, and I'm in love. I would love to have some of the capitos over here, but it's a lot harder to get those from Poland
yeah,
to the States, and
true.
without having to do a third party
Hmm.
distributor and stuff. Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
difficult.
unfortunately, that's the case that it's not easy to get them. And yeah, I do recall when I did my first tour in the U.S. in 2019, and that was my first tour ever with the Copitos, of course. And I was like just going, showing them on a display, and everybody was like, "Holy shit!" And the Copitos, So that was like a big selling point. So yeah, I did try the trick a few times, but even with the Copitos, it took me when I first started using the Copitos after the Axis. It took me months and months till I got used to them. And right now, it's been 2 years since I'm using the Copitos. Like, not really 2 years. I'd say a year, because 1 year basically I just I didn't even play because of COVID. So I say like in a year I was pretty happy, and now I don't even change the settings that much. I'm like trying them, and I'm happy with almost everything that I have. Even like after longer breaks, you start to play the pedals and you don't want to change things. They feel great. So okay, so yeah, doubles access. This was actually pretty cool because these were the pedals that I first learned how to do doubles on. So exactly the same access. That was the first tour we did together, that I did together with Belfagor and Suffocation. That was when Eric was showing me how to do like his kind of double stroke. So there's one important nuance that I want to point out. What, in my opinion, at least this is what made Eric's explanation super easy and simple for me when he was teaching me the double strokes, is his trick, his drumstick trick that he puts underneath the pedal. So like they're taped a little bit, but okay, more or less okay. So he puts the stick underneath, elevating the pedal, the heel part of the pedal, and this way he's creating like a bigger gap between the end of the heel plate, the footboard, and the floor. And the reason to do this is because now when you're slamming your heel down on the floor, you have kind of a bigger distance here to cover with your foot like this. And this kind of makes your foot itself bend upwards more, okay? Because you can kind of like squeeze down harder. And what this does, like usually, in my opinion, what's kind of a big problem with double strokes is that when you're doing the first hit is easy, okay? You come up from here and you just slam down the foot on the pedal, so you're going to make the first stroke. Usually the problem is the second stroke, even if it's happening, like the second hit, when you're doing the second hit, the beater itself is not gonna jump back too much, and it's gonna be like kind of a flam, buzz roll, whatever thing. And what you need to do in order to make your double stroke sounds good enough is that you have the second hit, let's say, try to make the beater go back for the second hit as much as you can. Obviously, it's not going to be like the range of motion is not going to be exactly the same as for the first stroke, but you need to try to make to do that. And what usually happens is like why can't you do that? Because when you're trying to slam you slam down your foot for the first stroke, and then you can see that if you stop here, you're pushing the beater onto the head. And if you squeeze down your heel further onto the floor, you're raising your toes, and you let the beater go back, obviously, because you give some space for the footboard to bounce. And this is easier if you can bend the foot down here, thanks to the extra space that you have here. What's his name? Alex, the drummer of Despised Icon.
Alex Rudinger?
No, not Rudinger. Was he not Alex? I think he has some kind of a French last name, not sure.
Huh.
Well, Despised Icon, and the drummer of Despised Icon, huge ass dude. And that guy, he has like those Copito pedals with those modification like heel blocks, and it's like this huge. And like his pedals, like if this is mine, his is like here. It's like super high. And this is, I think Eric said that he got that idea from him with this elevated heel block, okay? So, and another thing that Eric does, what was a big game changer for me, is this toe curling, okay? So I'm gonna do something very nasty right now, and I'm gonna take off the shoe. Luckily, you don't smell it. But this is very important, is that he curls his toe like this when he's doing the double stroke. And this was the second big game changer for me. And what I believe the way that it works, why it actually works, is because you're kind of like creating this band bridge kind of shape with your toe and with your foot itself. And the way that the whole thing functions is that this is the footboard. And when this is, you put the foot like this on top of the footboard. You're slamming down. You try to, let's say this is your foot, and you try to keep it parallel to the floor, okay? But you're curling your toes. This is the footboard. You're pushing down for the first hit, okay? So you push down the footboard. Then you go further down. You can go because the heel block allows it. You go down, your toe goes up, the footboard goes up again, and then you raise your leg back again. When you're raising it, you are trying to go once again parallel to the floor, like this. When you do this, your toes automatically push down the footboard for the second stroke. First stroke, second stroke. This was a very poorly animated double stroke by Eric Murati with my hand. Okay, and I think this is what actually happens when you try to do this. So obviously, in the end, it's kind of this, I'd say, rocking motion like this. You're kind of doing something like this with your foot, but because you can go lower and you're curling your toes like this, it gives a little bit more freedom for the footboard to move, even though you're using shoes. So you would think that the soil of the is this what's it called? The bottom part of the shoe.
Yeah, your sole. Yeah.
Sole.
There it is.
See, like your sole. Okay, so the sole of the shoe, it's gonna, like, let's say, prevent a little bit of this toe curling, but still, like, I mean, you would not use shoes with very, very thick sole. Okay.
So Eugene,
And then you're like slamming like this. You're slamming your toe like this on top of the, and you do this double stroke, okay? And then give me a second. I'm gonna put the second stick in here.
Hey, Eugene, you as my mentor, you probably be very angry with me. When I play double strokes now, I don't use shoes anymore. It's just it's a feel thing for me. I just don't use the shoes.
And honestly, like curling your toes like this, like I do, like Eric does put a lot of, let's say, pressure and stress on your shins, and you feel like you're getting a little bit tired. Well, I'm not a super big expert on heel toe, but this is, I basically learned how to do that in one day or something like this, in 15 minutes. It's just like the way that Eric explained it to me, and this whole idea and the approach how you should do it. And then after you understood it, it's just another few years, and then you're gonna master it.
Eugene, I'm so sorry. There's a guy in the comment section that says, "Have you ever seen people swivel their feet?" And you are the guy that swivels your feet. Will you please show this guy how you swivel your feet?
Yeah, swivel is something that I do a little bit more often than double strokes, of course. Yeah, well, swivel is something that's a little bit easier for me. It's been a while since I've been using these pedals. Yeah, but once again, there are different kinds of swivels, and we can go on and talk about swivel for another 3 hours at least, just about swivel. So.
Crazy. That's fucking awesome, man.
And again, this is something that I would like to point out. Where am I? Sure. So once again, that with swivel, that I also recently, let's say, discovered is that I try to follow the same philosophy as I do with my bread cutting technique. Is the part that you would actually think is doing the job. In case of swivel, this is the ankle, whatever, everything that's here. I try to keep it as relaxed as possible. And my whole body basically is under pressure, under tension, just like with my hands. And I do the same thing, is that I try to relax my upper, everything actually up here is fully relaxed. I'm not putting too much effort, but I feel like just my overall body is under a lot of stress and pressure when I'm like working. So the more relaxed you try to stay, the longer and faster you can go. That's what she said. And that's
Eugene,
how swivel works.
um,
Yeah.
th- this guy has a question. He says, "Do you eventually straighten up your toes when you get the idea of heel toe?"
Well, you mean if the curling your toes is just like, let's say, a thing that you do in training in the beginning, as just to understand how to do it? Well, I mean, maybe eventually you're gonna do it. I do recall that Eric, when he first time when he tried my Copito pedals, he said that he doesn't even need to curl his toes in order to be able to control the heel toe on my copitos, but that's what he said, that he was very comfortable with it. When I don't curl my toes, I don't feel that much control, but that's just because mostly I'm not that good at heel toe right now. When I curl my toes, I feel more control for the second stroke if I do this, like the claws. And then you're like a cat.
Well, you see, when you were mentoring me on double strokes, I had a hard time of rocking my foot like this. And
Hmm.
what I found on my trick pedals, for instance, is if I take my shoes off and just drop my heel, I keep my feet straight, just drop my heel like this. I have better feel and a lot more control, at least on trick pedals. I can't speak for X.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a lot of this is gonna vary depending on your pedal settings. So it all depends on your, obviously on the spring tension, on the beater angle, and on how you are able to apply the technique that you're using. So even with exactly the same identical pedal settings, same pedal settings, you take two different people who are both of them are using heel toe. Some of them might have like an easy time, somebody might have a hard time doing exactly the same thing. It's because it's like the technique itself, the skill of pulling off whatever, either heel toe or swivel, doesn't matter what. It's always a combination of your current level of skills, the way that you can control the pedals, the muscle group that you're using in combination with your current pedals and pedal settings. Okay, so it's always a cooperation between the settings and the skills and the technique itself. So that's why, these things always change. You are developing your technique, you're developing your muscles as a drummer, and that's why sometimes you change the settings in order to have the settings fit your current technique a little bit better than before. Okay, so and you're always looking for this perfect cooperation, but relationship between your pedal settings and your technique. So as your technique is changing, it's okay to change your pedal settings, and that's why even like people with the same pedals with different techniques sometimes have an easier or harder time. And because you said that you also like shoes, of course, even that plays a big role. So you take off the shoe, what does that mean? That you take off a little bit of extra weight, because shoes give you that extra weight. Shoes give you that extra feeling, like the sole of the shoe, like there are just way too many factors. You cannot really calculate all those things. I wish I could just tell you the spring tension has to be this, the beater angle has to be that, you have to wear the shoe that weighs this, and your shoe size should be this big. It's like maybe it is somehow possible to calculate all those things, but it's pointless. You're going to spend just way too much time and effort, getting frustrated, and you just try to feel more, try to think less and feel more. And this is weird because like all of this technique it's more of a scientific side of drumming rather than artistical. And here I am telling you to feel instead of thinking, okay? So it's much more easier for us human beings to learn how to feel things rather than think about them in this way. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell. That's what I can tell you.
Well, Eugene, I was about to say, if you want to fix your camera, and we'll talk for a couple more minutes, and we'll wrap it
Yeah,
up. And
okay.
I
Here I
appreciate
am.
you taking the time, man, to
My
demonstrate,
pleasure.
which
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
but no, man, I admire you. You're
Absolutely.
one of my influences when it comes to drumming, especially in the genre of extreme metal. Fucking post awesome content, always doing something cool as fuck, and it's awesome to see you doing your thing out here, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And in the same way, I
And
do want to ask before we wrap up here, is there anything down the pipeline that you want to promote? Anything you want to go ahead and shout out for us?
well, I don't know. I just like as an overall message to everybody who's watching this, make sure that you take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and work towards your goals and dreams and all that very general stuff. What can I say? Thank you very much for offering this live stream to do this live stream with me. It was a blast. I actually time it's already like almost an hour and a half that we did it, and it felt like 10 minutes. So
It did.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Yes, sir.
Time flies when you're having
absolutely,
fun.
my pleasure.
Well, Eugene, man, we appreciate you very much here, man. Hopefully, when this audience grows more, we can have you back. And
Part 3.
We can do this again. And
Absolutely. Sure,
but
sure. It was very, very, very nice to see actually how many people were watching. I'm seeing the numbers here, and it was very cool. So it was super cool to see, so many people.
Absolutely. Well, dude, I want to thank you again for having, being on here and talking to us. We're a small channel, up and coming, so it's really awesome that somebody who is an absolute god among men like yourself coming out and
Nah.
doing. I really appreciate that. If you guys are watching this, I do want to plug, if you guys enjoyed this conversation, make sure to check out Eugene's pages. He posts incredible content, drum playthroughs. He started doing reaction videos, so check those out. Those are a blast. All that good stuff. Flesh God Apocalypse. One of the fucking best bands on the scene, no doubt about that. Keep an eye out just in case some tour dates, maybe once shit starts clearing up a little bit, but keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
Follow these guys. Check them out on Spotify, all the pages. Eugene, man, thanks again.
fucking
Thank
blue,
you. My
bro.
pleasure.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking
Yeah,
blue.
yeah, fucking blue. Yeah,
Well, Eugene,
absolutely.
man,
Take it
we
easy, man.
appreciate you, man. Thank you very
Sure,
much.
guys. Take care and keep in touch. Yeah, thanks again. Bye bye.
Stay
Absolutely.
safe, man. Stay safe.
Cheers.